I'd like just to take a moment and recognize somebody who walked in. It really is a first for South Charlotte. But would everybody please welcome our mayor, Jennifer Rock. Thank you so much. Okay, Jim, the floor is yours.
And I'm probably going to spend most of my time answering questions because what I'm dealing with is an entirely different animal than what you're looking at down here. I'll start off with a couple of things. One, when I first showed up at the Mecklenburg County Commission in 2000, one of the first people I met was Bill James, and Bill James warned me to be very careful about what you did because we have a habit of starting within about a 3-block area in downtown Charlotte and going out. And that's a black hole. Every major decision starts with what's in the best interest of that area and then kind of goes out. And I have found that to be very true over the years. The I-77 project, the northern portion of that, has been probably the best example of that I've ever run into. And so what does that have to do with 485 South? Now 485 South is an entirely different project. 485 is a managed lane project owned by the state of North Carolina. It also operates under a road that was built recently. So to compare them and I-77, there is no comparison because they're nothing alike. So I'm not going to bring you a ton of wisdom about the 485 piece. I will bring you some information about the next ones that we're not talking about, which is I-77, the southern portion, and I think 74. But let me go back and kind of explain, just so you'll know my concerns about what's happening on I-77. And this is why you guys are way ahead, because you're paying attention. North Mecklenburg was not. North Mecklenburg was trusting in its elected officials. It was trusting in the Department of Transportation. It trusted that people had their best interest in heart. And we have learned that that was, in fact, not the case. It may not have been purposeful, but their needs, my constituent needs, were absolutely not considered and have not been. So I warn you to do exactly what you're doing, to stay engaged and to pay attention. By the way, when this was first proposed, we were told that I-77 would be managed lanes. So let's back up just a bit. We hear a lot. You share a senator with us, State Senator Jeff Tartt. When Jeff Tartt was the mayor of Cornelius, he was part of the discussion back in the mid-aughts of, we have a problem. We have a $12 billion road deficit in North Carolina, and we have no money. So we're having to look at how we're going to deal with that. And that is, in fact, a fact. That's a fact. North Carolina does have a huge deficit when it comes to funds based on the roads they need to build. And so individual mayors and the MPO met with NCDOT, and we said, here's what we believe the solution should be. We think we need to go to a managed lane concept. Okay. Now, the driving force behind that decision came out of the Committee of 21, which was here in downtown Charlotte. It was chaired by Ned Curran at that time. And Ned Curran looked at the solutions, looked at the problems, all the various solutions, and said, we are in dire trouble here. So what can we do? How can we come up with a method to take care of roads under these circumstances? And managed lanes was the answer. And so they then went to NCDOT, and they discussed it with NCDOT. They came to the MPO, which was MUMPO at the time, and I call it CRAPO now, and said, here's what we're going to do. The answer is managed lanes. Now, can you guys buy off on managed lanes? And everybody was told, well, what does that mean? And they said, it's either managed lanes or nothing. You either take managed lanes or there are no roads for 20 years. And I told people at the time, this is kind of like being told, I will cut off your head or I will cut off your arms. Which one do you want? The obvious answer is you cut off my arms. But what they didn't tell you is we're then going to let you bleed out. So at that point, the answer is no, cut off my head. If you're going to kill me fast. This is where Jeff Tart got caught in this, what appears to be a flip. He was told, manage lanes. The only answer. Now, what they didn't tell everybody was that apparently Wake County's MPO and Mecklenburg County's MPO were the only two in the state that said yes. Everybody else said no. When I asked Mr. Cookson, who was a good friend of mine, this is one of the problems with this, is I like Ned Curran, I like Warren Cookson, we just ended up being on the wrong side of this a lot. When I finally, in my frustration a year or so ago, went, why are we the only people paying tolls? Why is Asheville getting their road? And why is now Gastonia getting their road? And why did Asheboro get their road? I was told because we're the only ones that said it's okay. That's the answer. We will accept it. We're the only ones. Now, one of the reasons I think you'll find that the Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners voted 8-1 to say no, and by the way, said 8-1 to blow it all up if you had to, was because the Mecklenburg Board of County Commissioners for a couple of decades at least now has dealt with something the city of Charlotte has not had to deal with, and that is, and my good friend Bill James will confirm this, we pay for a lot of things the state of North Carolina should pay for. We pay for an awful lot of assistant district attorneys. We pay for teachers and teacher assistants. We used to pay for our own juvenile detention center. We find that when there's not enough money in the state, we kind of are the first ones to go, don't worry about it, we'll pay for it. And so it's only natural when it came to roads, we said yes. The problem in North Mecklenburg is that when it started to come out and the design starts to happen, one, we find out we're the only people with tolls, and then two, we find out this is a P3 project. Big difference between the state is going to try an experiment, and we're going to sign a 50-year contract with another company that's located out of Spain. And this is where the real problem came in, is the design. Because what I-77 does is I-77 works if you are the city of Charlotte. And so with all due respect to my friend Mayor Roberts, who was a Board of County Commissioner, and my friend Ed Driggs, I-77 works if your goal is to bypass all the congestion in Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson. It adds absolutely no capacity to Huntersville, Cornelius, and Davidson. And this isn't your problem, but I want to give you a feel for what happens. We have heard Charlotte has exploded. It has doubled in size since 1995. The reason we have to do this is because Charlotte has doubled in size since 1995. How will we deal with the road congestion? North Mecklenburg, Huntersville, Davidson, Cornelius, has increased 533% since 1995. And how many extra lanes has that area gotten? None. We have literally not widened a shoulder on a north-south road since 1995. So we have a plan to deal with the poor slobs who were stuck in North Mecklenburg with one road. And if you need to get into downtown Charlotte quickly, this takes care of it. Because you can pay a toll and you can bypass the congestion. The design does not work if you live in North Mecklenburg and you have to go from Huntersville exit 23 to Huntersville exit 25. or from Huntersville to Cornelius, or from Huntersville to Davidson. And because we have this big gawking lake up there, we are limited to one road across it. So I-77 is the only local road in North Mecklenburg. Now, an interstate should not be a local road. You should not use an interstate to go get your groceries. You should not use an interstate to take your kids to daycare. But when it's the only road that goes through there, you're kind of forced to use it. And so you're forced with congestion. And this plan does not deal with the congestion. It deals with bypassing the congestion. I live at exit 23. If I want to go to Burkdale, people have heard Burkdale. Burkdale is kind of the shopping district of Huntersville at exit 25. I hop off of exit 23. I ride up a little ways. I cross over one general purpose lane. I jump into the toll lane, and I'm zipping past all the congestion. The only problem is I can't get off at the Burkdale exit at exit 28. Because you can't get off the toll road at any of the exits. I have to go up to about Cornelius, exit off at Cornelius, and come back down a two-lane road and cross back over I-77. If I'm in Mooresville and I need to get to a bank meeting in downtown Charlotte, though, I can get there because I don't have to get off. So my warning is that as we start to talk about managed lanes, somehow managed lanes can become P3s. I-77, we just heard Monday, is likely to be a P3 in South Mecklenburg. And the design of those, whether coincident or not, tends to serve downtown Charlotte more than others. And that's just a fact. I-77 is an absolute fact that that is the case. And that's why so many people up there are so terribly upset. It's not about whether it's going to cost $10 because they're not going to downtown Charlotte. There is a minor amount of people living in North Mecklenburg that go to downtown Charlotte. They go from Huntersville to Huntersville, Huntersville to Cornelius, Cornelius to Davidson, and they've got to go across that lake. Now the last part that's really frustrating is, and there's no economic impact study done, so we have no idea what that does to the community. And we give up all our right-of-way. We give up your right-of-way, by the way. Because as we start talking about transportation, as we start talking about truck transit out of Charlotte and through North Mecklenburg, once you've given away the only dry land over the lake, the next land is over water. It is projected to cost $500+ million to build a lane over the water. NCDOT's figures from a few years ago. And those were the issues we had. So stay very engaged. Stay very alert to what we're talking about. Engage with the people up north. And you should, look, you're with two guys who say never trust government and we're in it. That's pretty consistent, but there's something to that. And I will answer more specific questions about all of that. But I will tell you one more thing. The problem between managed lanes, well, general purpose lanes are what you pay for. We're building them all over the state. We're going to build everybody else's general purpose lanes, and then we're going to pay for our own. Because there seems to be a notion in Mecklenburg County that it's okay to overtax our citizens for infrastructure. If it works for the right people, that's part of it.